What's up, everyone? Ron Carter here, Brian Marsolais over here next to me.
Hello, everybody.
Welcome to the Mind Design Podcast. This is episode 14, right?
14.
I think it's
14
14.
episodes.
Yeah.
All right.
So,
Totally a pleasure. Totally a pleasure working with you, Ron.
yeah, absolutely. So, I know that you had an idea, um, but real quick, for anybody who might be new to this, I think this is a good idea to always do. Like, what is this podcast about? Like, what do we talk about? What is this? I'm new.
Right on, right on. So we talk about anything and everything. And actually, what we like to do is we'll answer anyone's questions as well. And we try to always link a positive mindset type theory that's helped us along our path to help you along your path.
So, what do you mean by positive mindset type theory?
So there's lots of studying that I've done that you've done over decades that have helped us catapult our lives in a positive direction. And those things, we can put it in our words, and maybe it'll help some of our viewers out there.
Yeah, maybe it'll help you guys, or maybe you already know it, but you know that it will help somebody else, and so it's really easy to hit the share button and send it to them. You know, just we just put this out hoping that it helps somebody because thankfully other people did this. I know for me, and they didn't do it specifically for me, but they did this, and I stumbled across their stuff and it helped and changed my life. So, anyways, that's it. That's the podcast. If you're new, that's what this is about, and we can just get into the one and only. It's going to be the only 14th episode that we ever do for this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, well, I'm glad to be here.
But you had a question for me, and we're going to save it until we're on here.
Right
So,
on.
what?
Because I love the way you look up things, Ron, on the internet. You're quick about it. You find all kinds of different opinions on it. And I think some of the questions that I have are going to help other people out there on certain topics. So you ready for the question today?
Yeah, give it to me.
You're ready.
I'll share my screen as soon as I want to hear the question, then I'll share the screen and we'll get into it.
Okay. So this question is, why do they put aluminum in deodorant?
Huh.
Now,
You know
did you
what?
know that, Ron?
I did know that.
Hmm.
I don't know why.
So let's look it up. And that's where you come in. Already on it.
Do you already know the answer to this question?
No, I have no idea. I count on you.
To prevent sweat from reaching the skin surface. Aluminum salts and antiperspirants, which are a type of deodorant, form a temporary plug in sweat ducts. And the plug in the sweat ducts is what prevents sweat from reaching the skin surface. This helps control sweat and body odor. Aluminum salts also reduce body odor by stopping bacteria that feed on sweat and cause it to increase.
That's interesting
So it's like,
because I've noticed a lot of things saying our deodorant is aluminum free. So why would you have an aluminum free deodorant if it does all those good things?
well, one thing that I do know is um, I heard this thing a long time ago where I don't know if this is true or not. Actually, we'll look it up.
Yeah,
But first I'll tell you the rumor, right? Before I look it
sure,
up.
sure.
And the rumor, this was years and years ago, was that aluminum in deodorant was like linked to Alzheimer's,
Mm.
um, and getting Alzheimer's when you're older. And so we'll see if that's actually the case.
So let me ask you something, Ron. Do you use aluminum free deodorant?
No, I mean, it doesn't work for me. Like, you
Hmm.
know, like I use deodorant with antiperspirant because I sweat, and so if I don't have antiperspirant, then it just doesn't work as good. I know
And you
that there's
can't
all
you
this.
yeah, you can't find any aluminum free antiperspirant that works for you.
No, the aluminum salts is what makes the antiperspirant work really well.
Mm.
You know,
Because I noticed the aluminum free stuff doesn't really help me as much as probably the aluminum stuff. But, do I want to get Alzheimer's if that's true? Or is that just a rumor? Let's look into that.
okay. No, there is no good evidence that aluminum in deodorants causes cancer. A 2014, this is made by Google's AI, but I trust it.
Hmm.
We'll look at some other stuff. Um, a 2014 review found no clear evidence that aluminum containing deodorants increase the risk of cancer. Oh, you can't even see my screen.
Cancer, but what about Alzheimer's, like you said?
We'll get there. Yeah.
Yeah.
One study of 1,600 women found that those who use deodorant are no more likely to develop cancer than those who don't. Another study found no difference in aluminum concentration between breast cancer tissue and normal breast tissue. Okay. Cause Alzheimer's.
I got another interesting question on top of that one.
Um,
Just remind me.
okay. There's little evidence that aluminum in deodorant causes Alzheimer's disease. Like I personally, I think that all this is just like I don't even waste time thinking about this kind of stuff on like myself. I view it like it's a time waste. Because I used to look into this and be like, oh, this does this to you, and this does that to you, and this does that, and now I'm like, you know what? Like there's always going to be like somebody who says that it does and somebody who says that it doesn't, and and I am a full proponent in that like my beliefs dictate my reality and my experience in life. And if I think that everything is going to kill me and give me cancer and make me sick, um, then
It'll happen.
I'm probably gonna get cancer, get sick, and die.
And
you
that's what's
know?
this is, and that's what's great about this podcast, right? So now, if you look at it, what you're saying is there's a placebo effect that really works.
Yeah, well, the placebo effect is a real thing, and so like this is why I know it's like I know that it may be controversial, right? I know a lot of people that I'm close to just in my personal life who would not agree to this, but I'm like I watch what I eat to a degree, to a degree. Like I try not to eat processed foods. Um, I don't try that hard, but I also don't shame myself for doing it. Like if I want a pizza and I'm like, hey, we're gonna have a pizza tonight and just enjoy this fat, greasy stuff. Like then we're gonna have a pizza and I'm gonna enjoy it. I'm not gonna feel guilty. I'm like, yeah, like I ate this food and okay. I also
Mm.
don't think like I'm gonna die because I'm eating this food. That's like there is no um there's no like mental script going on about what's about to happen because I'm doing this thing. It's just in the moment doing this thing. And then but I also do the same thing when I'm eating healthy. If I'm when I'm eating salads, when I'm going to the grocery store, I like to go to the grocery store after I work out because I notice that after I work out and the gym is like in the same shopping plaza as the grocery store, so it's pretty convenient. And I notice that after I work out, when my body is needing certain nutrients because
Mm.
of the workout, those I tend to get healthier foods from the store because I actually crave them then. And so then that's what I buy and that's what I take home and I eat more of it. And so, but I also am obviously not opposed to having like these canned energy drinks, right? Like,
Mm.
and like a bunch of caffeine but at the same time, like I'm still active. Like I was out in the water like just this weekend. And uh and so I'm kind of the mindset of like if I think that everything's out to get me, then I'm gonna have the experience of that, you
Hey,
know?
there's a visitor.
Yeah.
Yeah, so this is pretty cool, right? So we go from the question, why do they put aluminum in deodorant? Not because they're trying to harm you, but just why? Why do they do it? Right?
Yeah, there's an actual, there's a legit reason, you know?
There's your legit reason why they claim they put aluminum in deodorant,
Right.
you know? Not saying that it's healthy or unhealthy for you. But what you did, Ron, is you took it to says, well, my belief says it's fine. And my belief system is more powerful than anything out there.
Yeah. Oh, that made me just think of something that's like, because I remember coming into contact with people who would say things like what I just said and like what you just said before I had that belief system. Before I believed that, I would come into other people who believed that about themselves, and I'd hear them say that, and I'd just be like, "This is a load of bullshit, dude." Like that's what I would think then, you
Yeah.
know? And 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 I realize, like right now, I'm realizing that the only reason that my belief system is powerful enough for that to work is because I believe that it is,
Mm.
you know? And it's like when I didn't think that my beliefs can dictate my experience, can dictate the health of my physical body, can dictate how things on the outside affect things on the inside. When I believed that, when I didn't have that belief, I had like the opposite of that belief without even knowing it. And the opposite of that belief is I'm in. There's no part of me that is in control. It's me against everything and everybody, and like this is probably a losing battle of some kind, you know.
Wow.
And I
This was the Ron of earlier years.
yeah, and I didn't know that that's what like I wasn't aware of this belief. This was like deep rooted, right? And this is what a lot of it's what I see a lot of times. It's like whenever you see somebody um like posting something on the internet and then somebody else like gets angry, gets in a fight in the comments.
Oh,
They're
yeah,
total
yeah.
strangers. It's like it's
Yeah.
because if you believe that everything and everybody is out to get you or change your mind about something or like attack you in some way, shape, or form, then you're going to respond appropriately to that,
Hmm.
and that's what you're going to see, you know, because you believe that that's what's out there. So you see that, and then and so I see this belief everywhere, right? Um, except for in people that are really like growth minded, like they're really oriented towards like consciously growing and improving. Then you start to see that slip away. um, and so it's like my beliefs have always been like dictating my reality and creating my experience. It's just that when I wasn't aware of it, my beliefs were shit and they were creating a shit experience. And because I wasn't aware of it, I thought it's everybody else's fault and everything's fault. Yeah,
Right on.
it's the
Right
deodorant
on.
company's fault. It's
Yeah, yeah. Yep. Yeah. I remember Chuck Norris wrote this book. This is a long time ago. I don't know how old the book is, but I read some of his book. And I know there's a part of it, and he said, you know, in my early development in life, I would always act tough. You know, when he met people on the street, he would always act tough, and he would get that result back at him
yeah,
because he was acting tough. The other people would act tough, and you'd get that vibe, right? Like, oh man, here we go. You know, we're
yeah,
gonna get into it. And then he said, you know, when I realized all I had to do is smile and say, "Hey guys, how you doing?" And their guard would go down, and everyone would be friendly, and it'd be a nice experience. You know?
yeah,
So this is just one of those things that we're elevating, right? So other people have done it before us, but when you realize, hey, I'm not going to worry about anything because I know I control what happens to me, and there's a lot of like Dr. Joe Dispenza comes to mind. He
Yep.
healed the body with his mind. I'm sure you've heard of him.
Yeah. He was in the OG. He was. I don't. I don't. I'll just say what I was gonna say first. So he was in the OG. No, he wasn't in. Either he was in The Secret or he was in
What the bleep is it?
What the Bleep Do We Know? Yeah,
Yeah,
that's what it was. Um, but I still, that's not. I don't look at that like that's his claim to fame because he's done a lot of amazing work before and after that. You
yeah,
know,
yeah, yeah.
but that was like my first exposure to him. But yeah, like for sure, it's like there's a little mind fuck for you guys, and that's that. I'll just this is like one of the few places that I feel like I can like share this where so put your tinfoil hat on and
Yeah.
and get ready. Um so
The suspense is killing me. Yeah.
so if you think about your experience, right? Your experience of life. Right now, you, Brian, or
Yeah,
who
I'm
or
with you.
whoever may be watching this, you're sitting down somewhere, maybe you're standing if you're watching this and you're somewhere else, you're standing and looking at your phone or but take a look at your surroundings, like look around, right? Like the walls, whatever's around you, and then close your eyes, like
All right, I'm
close
gonna
them.
I'm gonna do this with you.
Yeah,
Okay.
close your eyes, and then visualize everything that you were seeing before you closed your eyes. Like just recreate your exact scenario that's around you.
Okay.
And so you can open your eyes now. And hopefully if you're watching this somewhere, you didn't do this like while driving a vehicle. Don't do that. But
I should have said that before, Ron.
right, yeah. So I realized that and I kept it short. It's like, all right, now open your eyes.
Yeah.
So everything that you saw when you closed your eyes, where did you see that?
Oh, that's an interesting question. Um, like personally, when I saw it more up, in a vision
Right.
in
Up,
my mind.
up
Like,
in a vision in your mind.
right.
Okay, that's right. And so when you look around the room right now with your eyes open, where do you see that?
I so I see it more in front of me and probably a little more focused.
It looks like it's a little bit more in front of you. It seems
Right.
like it's a little bit more in front of you.
Okay.
Like it
I,
seems like it,
yeah, I like where we're going.
but the funny thing is, the only difference between your eyes being closed and open is that light particles, photons, have hit your eyes, and then your optic nerve behind your eye has turned that into electrical impulses and sent it to the brain, right? And the brain decodified those electrical impulses and said, this is what is out there. But that's still like, if you think about it, we don't even really get to see what is out there. Like, what we get is electrical impulses that are decodified by the brain, and then the picture is still being formed in our mind. It just looks like it's out there. No part of our brain is ever actually out there to be like, okay, what does the world look like if you look at it without using eyeballs and electrical impulses?
Mm.
No one knows. Like no one has ever known, right? And so this is why I bring this up. Because you might be like, okay, where is this going, Ron? Um,
Yeah. Where is this going on? Well, what about just real quick? What about somebody who is blind? Would that be different for them?
that what they experience, the pictures that they see in their mind may look different, but all experience of anything happens in the mind.
Wow.
Anything that you hear, it's just electrical impulses until it's decodified by the brain and then put into our conscious awareness. By the mind, I think of our conscious awareness, not just the brain doing stuff,
Hmm.
right? Like I could have the because I'm so used to the cat brushing by my feet while I'm sitting in the chair, the cat could brush by my feet. And even though my skin and the hairs on my legs move, they send electrical impulses through my skin to my spine, up to my brain to let me know that something is touching your feet, right? Like even though
Hmm.
that's physically happening, but I'm so used to the cat doing that that my conscious mind ignores those signals and I don't even experience it,
Hmm.
right? Like I'm not even aware that the cat did it and I don't experience it because my mind decides we don't need that. So all experience happens in the mind, right? Regardless of what signals are coming in or aren't coming in from like our body. And so the reason I bring that up is from like when we look at like Dr. Joe Dispenza, he's talking about like literally like recreating our experience of life like through changing our mind. Our mind is the only thing that we experience life through.
Hmm.
So if we're able to change our mind and change what we focus on and what then that's the only surefire way to literally change anything that we experience because everything that we experience through our mind. So when we change
Hmm.
what we perceive or how we decide to perceive it or what meaning we decide to give it, then it changes our experience. And we start to see stuff. We may start to see things like here's a good example. Um, like even right now, I'm running through my mind trying to figure out like, okay, what were some like coincidences that happened because I was looking for them. Here's one. Actually, yeah, here's a really cool one. So before I was doing sales inside of David Bayer's company, right? The way that happened. So for anybody like watching for context, um, Brian and I met when I was a sales rep in a mindset coaching company back in 2022. And so before I had that job, and I was just talking to a lot of people that wanted to improve their mindsets. Um, I was trying to do my own business. I was newly sober, like a year sober. I got like a couple clients, and but it was getting hard, and I was like, oh man, like maybe I need to like invest in a coach or a mentor or something like that. Even though I kind of know what to do, I just need somebody to like tell me to do it. And so I was like looking around, and at the time I had this goal of just wanting to be like the best salesperson on the planet. It's not really my goal anymore, but at the time that's what I wanted. And and so I thought, okay, I just made the decision. Like, all right, I'm gonna become the best sales dude that there is. And I get home from work, so when I was still working on appliances, and I plop down on the bed just to take a break after fixing appliances for 10 hours. And I pull out my phone, I open up Facebook, and the first thing that I see is an ad. And I had never seen this ad before. And the ad was from this guy named Cole Gordon. And what Cole Gordon does and what he did and what he still does is he trains um, salespeople to become some of the best, like top salespeople in the online coaching industry. And he said, "Hey, do you want to like get to 10K a month? You don't have to do it from like starting this kind of business or that kind of business or all these different things." He's like, "Look, the easiest way, the simplest way is just to do sales for somebody else who's already doing that stuff. He's like, and look, we have a track record for doing this. I already knew who he was because my previous coach worked at the same company that he worked at when he was getting really good at sales. So they'd like work together for a brief period of time. And a lot of the stuff that I knew from sales was the same stuff he was already doing. And he's like, yeah, like fill out this application. It's free. We'll test your sales rep skills, and then we'll match you in one of our companies. The reason that he does this, he's like, look, these other companies pay us 25 grand to give them good sales reps. So like
Wow.
that's it. So and
So
I was like, wait, what? It's like I just decided I'm gonna get really good at sales, and this is the first thing that pops up.
so you decided you didn't even speak a word of it, but you
No,
just thought it. You get home, you just happen to open up Facebook,
yeah,
and there it is, right in
right,
front of you.
yeah.
And how many times does that happen?
See,
It's
here's
yeah.
here's what I posit, right? I posit that this happens all the freaking time.
Yep.
But most of the time, we aren't aware of it. It's like the cat brushing up against my leg.
Hmm.
Because I'm not aware of it, I don't see it. So therefore to me it does not exist.
Yep. Absolutely true. It's like when you buy um, a new car. Suddenly you see that car everywhere. They've always been there, but now you see it.
Right. And it's like I saw this when I decided like one day I'm gonna get a Tesla, right?
Mm.
I still don't have one yet. It's not even in, but I'm that's neither here nor there. But I decided that, right? And I printed out pictures of it, and I was like, "This is," and I put them on my wall, and I'm looking at it. I'm imagining what it feels like to drive in it, and I did this for like probably 2 months, and then I'd stopped and went on to other things. But
Yeah.
what I did notice is how many freaking Teslas there are everywhere.
Yeah,
I
sure.
was like, these things are everywhere. It's like
Y-
they've been there, dude.
Now, were you like when you let's just take the Tesla for an example.
Hmm.
Were you in like extreme detail, like the outside of it, the inside of it, the kind of tires you were going to have on it?
Yeah, I was, but also I think that imagining things and feeling them, this is a belief that I have, and it may be wrong. It may be a
I'm
limiting
gonna
belief.
I want to listen to it because I want to see if you share that belief with me. I just
Yeah,
want to see. I want
I
to hear
think
what you have to
that,
say.
well, imagining things and feeling them, it does bring it towards me, right? But also, I am the only one who can get in the way of that happening.
Yep.
And so for me, the way that I got in the way of that happening, I've gotten in the way multiple times of that happening, is and so the first time was like I was doing sales. I'm like, I need to get sober because like I'm like, who gives a shit if I have a Tesla? And I'm like, and like I hate my life and how I feel every day. And so I was like, all right, we're gonna get sober. So I started switching it out with more meaningful goals. Is basically what happened. And then started then it was a goal when I was doing sales. I was like, all right, we're gonna get to 100K over 100K in disposable income, and then I'll get this Tesla because I want to get like the best one, right? Not just the Model 3 that everybody has, and 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 so then I realized like, okay, this offer that I was selling, it's not really giving great commissions, and I realized like, and I was being promised like to like different positions in the company, and then they weren't really happening. This was going on for months and months and months. I was like, all right, dude, you're gonna have to just create your own opportunity. So I left, right? Started my own business, and we did bring in revenue. We brought in money, um, and then I realized the model that we were pursuing, the business model that we were pursuing, was going to lead to just a ton of burnout. Like that's the only way that it was going. It was like we were having a lot of calls on our calendars, and then for sales, and then for client fulfillment, and the only if we would have continued to ramp that up because we started to get momentum, if we would have continued to ramp that up, we would have to hire other people to take those calls, and they weren't going to be as good as us. So that means that even though they're taking the call, and you can't expect a salesperson to sell better than a business owner. The business owner has more confidence and belief in the product than anybody else in the company. So they're always going to be the best salespeople. So these other salespeople would have came in and not done as well, and then we'd have to constantly be doing calls with them, training them, and that would be it forever. And I was like, I don't really want to do that either. So I kept switching my mind on what I want to do and the way I want to do it.
So you were getting in the way of you.
Exactly. And but here's the thing too, because as we evolve and we start to go down a path, um, like, and I start to go down a path, here's the thing. The me 2 years ago really wanted that Tesla. Now I'm kind of like, it'll be cool when I get it,
Yeah,
you
things
know?
change. Things
Yeah.
change. Yeah,
And
absolutely.
and honestly, even then, like right now, I'm like, if I had 100K in disposable income, like I wouldn't want to go buy a Tesla. Like,
Yeah. You look at things differently. It's
right, like
weird.
I would want to like put some of it, first of all, I'd want to like put like most of it in like a high yield savings account, and that's like it just stays there and it's good. I don't have to even think about it, and then it makes money.
Mm,
And then I
yeah.
know that all of my living expenses are paid for exactly, I know exactly how many months that they're all paid for. And then I can start like really just having some fun with business stuff. And then I can be like,
Mm,
now we're gonna get the Tesla, and I'll keep that carrot on a stick as long as it keeps me doing stuff, you know,
yeah,
um,
yeah.
because
Well, I mean, I always like like I always liked the feeling of let your money make you more money.
that's more important to me now than a Tesla,
Yeah,
and that's why I don't have
exactly.
one.
Yep. And but you know what? That's saying something about you, and you're like, well, how can I invest in me and my future to make it easier?
Right.
You
Yeah.
know?
And but on the other hand, when I ran into that ad, um, I'd already imagined what it's like to be a sales rep because that guy, I already knew who he was. I've already gone through some of his training. A friend shared some of his training with me. I
Hmm.
didn't really want his training. I wanted, okay, because his clients were people like Tony Robbins, Dean Graziosi, like all these like Frank Kern, like all these people that a lot of people know about in the industry. So it's like these are the companies that he is placing sales reps into. So I'm like, I don't care about your training. I want you to evaluate me as a salesperson and put me into one of these really good companies because that's where I'm going to become like one of the best from being surrounded by other people who are the best, you know? And so
Mm.
when I saw his ad, I was like, oh, snap. Like I didn't even know about this offer. I'm like, this is exactly it. So I put my name and my email in. I got on a call with somebody with this team, and then they told me like basically your experience isn't like we can get you a position, but it's not going to be in like one of these companies because your experience isn't there. It's like, but you could invest in our sales training. One of the things is like in our sales training, we do all these mock calls. So they're like basically fake sales calls where the other person's pretending to be a prospect. You do like 30, 40 of them. We evaluate your performance. And that way we can give these other companies our seal of approval on you. We can be like, we've seen the work that he does. We've seen what he does. He's good. And then those other companies will take you. So I was like, okay, like here's 6 grand. Like do that, you know? Um,
Yeah. So
and
you so all of a sudden your new system of thinking was more like bringing everything in and things are going to happen for you. Almost like you visualize being the greatest salesperson on the planet, and then these things start coming into your life. And as long as you didn't put resistance to those things, it could just keep going and going and developing.
yeah, it happens and it's like we put the thing that we want and the experience of it in the forefront of our mind, and the universe itself shifts to bring that to us. It's like we always think I used to always think that like I have to move around. I need to figure out who I need to talk to and where I need to go to get this thing.
Mm,
Like
yeah.
all of that, it's like all of that kind of just works itself out unbeknownst to me when I just
Mm,
like did I have to like call Cole Gordon's team and then tell them, hey, run an ad, make sure you target this guy, Ron Carter, living over here in California, so he sees your ad. Like the universe just did all that for me, you
yeah,
know?
yeah.
And
No,
I just happened to notice it.
there's definitely magic in that. There's no question about it. I've lived my life through that.
Right.
Like, so, here's one of the challenges that maybe you can give me a new perspective on it or just, help with it. So let's say you're coaching someone who has no money and everything's a struggle, right? And then they'd be like, well, it's easy for you. You've got, you know, money available. You've got, you know, things
Right.
available. How would you get somebody to shift their mindset to help them along the path of, well, you know, if you just calm your nervous system and you just visualize, things get easier. Like how would you coach that?
Well, number one is,
Now, this person's already struggling. They're struggling
yeah,
to pay their taxes, or they're struggling to pay their insurances, or food, or whatever. So
yeah,
they're already at a point of despair.
yeah. So I've coached people like this, so it's like
Mm,
I know what works and what doesn't work, and what doesn't work is me telling them what they should do. Me telling them what I did doesn't work
mm,
because all they can think about is their problem.
okay.
And rightfully so. I've been in that same experience. I remember when I quit my job in LA before I was really having any business success. I had some like I got some sales and then quit my job thinking I was going to be able to keep it up, keep it going, and then didn't get any sales for the next month, and then was literally walking to the grocery store so I can buy sweet potatoes because they were the cheapest priced food in the whole grocery store. And then I just like uh roasted like 8 sweet potatoes in the oven to live off of for the next 4 days type shit.
Wow.
Right. Like so
Yeah, it's
I
pretty
know
incredible. That's yeah.
like I
Wow,
know
okay.
like I know what that
Yeah.
experience is like. And if anybody tries to tell me like, hey, just all you got to do is sit down and breathe, I'm like, are you dude, are you serious? I'm eating sweet potatoes for the next 4 days. Like
Yeah.
I need to figure out how to make this stuff
Talk
work.
to me about meditation or something, right?
Like yeah, I'm stressed and I think that I should be like right now,
Yeah.
right? But so here's what does work, and it's more like one-on-one type support. It's really hard to do through like just video content or anything like that. But like, let's say that if somebody's in a situation like that, if you're watching this or in a situation like that, or a situation that just is dire to you, it doesn't have to be that extreme, like the example that I brought up, but something where it's like something has to change. I got to do something about this. Um,
Mm.
like the first thing that I would ask is like why? Like, why do you have to do something about the situation? And and I want you to just really like think about it, and but just it's not a trick question. Like it's just the question. Um
But if I was to ask you that back then, why, Ron? You'd be like, well, I'm on my seventh potato. Okay.
yeah,
I've got one more to
yeah,
eat.
I'm gonna be homeless in a couple months if I don't, you know,
Okay.
easy. That's why. But here's the thing. I would ask why first. So I can find out why like it's not on me to tell you why you should do this. Like, because if you don't feel like it, If I say, hey, why do you even want to do that? And you're like, well, I guess I really don't. And it's like, cool, like that was easy, you know? Like it's not on me to tell people what they should do or what they shouldn't do or how they should do things. But if they have that desire, then it's like, well, what is it? And then they share what it is, and it's like, okay, so let's say that it's like they're behind on bills, like what you were saying, right?
Hmm.
Well, it's like then I would say, okay, so you want to change, so you're not like behind on bills anymore. Um, so I would say like what's been going on over like the last month that's caused you to be behind on bills today? Because I know that whatever we're experiencing today is a byproduct of the days of the past. So it's like, what happened back there that's making the situation go on right here?
Hmm. So you're looking for clues
Right.
to
And
why they're suffering.
right. And it's not so I can tell them what to do. It's just so that I'm not looking for clues. I'm looking to make them aware of the clues that are already right in front of them.
So they can see them.
And so that whatever they decide to do is their idea. I'm not
Hmm.
going to even tell them what to do. The best way to coach is to not tell people what to do, but it's to help them become aware of the solutions that are already right in front of them that they can take and have it be their idea to get to the place that they want to go. Because then they do it.
Right.
When it's my idea, it sounds good. When it's their idea, it's like, of course this is what I'm gonna do. And they go do it, you know. And so I'd ask them, like, what happened to make this happen? And say, okay. And then I'd say, once they tell me whatever the answer is, it's like, what's something that you feel like you could have done differently, like over the last month, that would have
Hmm.
prevented this from happening today?
Yeah.
And then they tell the answer, and it's like, okay. So, and then I would just say, so, okay, got it. So, do you think if like that thing that you just said, whatever it is, do you think that if you did that like today and like moving forward, do you think that that would prevent you from being in the spot that you're in like right now, next month? And the answer is of course going to be yes, because it's like, well, if I would have did it then, I wouldn't be in the spot now. And it's like, okay, well, then why don't you just do that? And they're like, oh, I didn't think about that. And they'll probably say something like, yeah, but that doesn't fix the situation like right now today. And it's like, well, you can fix
Yeah.
the situation right now today. You could try to
But
put all your energy into that and then create the same situation next week, next month, next year. Or you can like do something that you like know will stop the situation by next month. I mean, it's up to you. Like, you're just like, I don't know, what do you think is the best thing to do? Then usually they're like, yeah, that. It's like the thing is, if somebody's already in a hole like that, you don't get out of holes like that right away because you
yeah, of
don't dig
course.
yourself into a hole like that right away.
Yeah.
It's a gradual set of behaviors and actions compounding that lead to that kind of experience. And so it's going to be a gradual set of behaviors and actions compounding that lead out of that experience. So the best thing to do is instead of help somebody see some big overarching task to go do right now to try to get out of the situation. It's like, how do we how do we how do we change the compounding? We want the compound because right now, if they're going into the hole, it's like they're paying compounding interest, right?
Yeah.
It's just getting the hole's getting bigger and bigger and bigger as time goes on.
Mm.
And what we want is we want to flip that around so it becomes compounding returns instead of interest, right? And then eventually they'll get back to baseline and hopefully they continue that so that they actually get
Hopefully they
above,
learned.
right?
Yeah. Yeah.
um,
So first of all, so I think it's great that you pointed out first, I'm going to let them see why it happened. This is why it happened. And then I'm going to ask a couple questions so they realize they caused the problem. However, they can fix the problem on their own.
Yeah, yeah. And it's hard to coach people through that, and usually I don't end up coaching people through that. I
Mm,
mean, I have. It's not something that I usually end up coaching people through because for me to be coaching somebody one on one, they've usually had to have paid me, right? And
yeah,
if they're in
yeah,
that
yeah.
situation, then they're, um,
Yeah,
but
they have to be in a certain place, of course. And not
but
only that, most people that are looking for, you are trying to, get to another level in life. They've already figured out the little stuff.
yeah, I still do get it from time to time though because I do teach people sales. And so there's the thing, a lot of people who have no experience with sales think that learning sales is going to be the magic bullet that's going to get them out of a situation just like that.
Mm,
And so they join my free community, then they book an onboarding call, and then they're in that situation. And do you know what I tell them? I have stuff that I can sell that will help them. I don't sell it to them. The last thing you need to do right now is buy something.
mm,
You just told me that you're about to get evicted next week, and I tell them the painful truth. Like, look, here's like what you should do is go get steady work. I don't care if it's
absolutely.
McDonald's.
Yep.
Like you're not working anywhere, you have no income, and I know you're trying to make this thing work online, but like you haven't got any results yet, you haven't got any sales yet, and you're not going to get any if you need the money, if you need it to survive, everyone's they call it commission breath. Everyone's gonna smell it on your breath, even through the DMs. Like that you don't care about them and getting them helping them with that. You just need to do this. And I tell them the story of me and the potatoes and like how I didn't get any sales as soon as I needed money and it was terrible and it's like this is how I know this,
Yeah,
because I've
yeah,
done it.
yeah.
Like yeah, you can choose to do it too, but it's not a very pleasant experience. um,
Yeah.
and
Oh,
and then usually I share with them some other resources that would help with their online stuff. But I said, like, this is secondary. First thing you should do is like go get a job, any job, like like the same way that you want to be DMing prospects and learning how to do this, you need to be DMing prospects about jobs.
yeah,
Like, you know, turn in 10 applications instead of sending 10 uh, messages to prospects about selling them an offer, put in 10 job applications a day and then follow up with all of them.
yeah.
Start
Well,
working, get steady income in, spend less than what you make, and start doing this stuff for because it's going to take longer than 2 weeks. A job will pay you faster than anything else. You start
yeah.
2 weeks later, 2 to 3 weeks later, you get a paycheck. Like that's not how a business goes when you have zero experience. Zero
Mm,
experience with marketing, sales, you don't even know what you're going to sell. All of that stuff is going to take if you're going from zero to like somebody paying you enough for you to survive off of, it takes longer than
mm.
3 weeks. you know?
Yeah, yeah. And it's a lot of people out there who just, they sell a bunch of BS.
Yeah, well, there's a lot of people that have the marketing message that says it says start this and you'll make so and so made
Mm,
20K in the last week. But what they
yeah,
fail to mention is that so and so had been doing this for the last 4 years, already has an email list with like 3,000 people on it, and they joined this program and they got their little link and they sent out an email to their email list and then made all this money. It's like,
yeah,
yeah, but they've been making money and like,
yeah. The it has been manipulated a little bit, but this person made $20,000 in one sale, you know?
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
So here's something, right? So we went from why do they put aluminum in deodorant, right? Well, here's something. Can you imagine being the person who discovered, hey, let's put aluminum in deodorant? Just, it's weird.
very random.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just like a my girlfriend and her brother, because her brother was in town um, this weekend, staying at our place, and we were talking about uh, kombucha because her brother used to make his own kombucha, and so
Really?
and I don't know the process of it, but he's talking about I guess you put all the like bacteria and yeast and stuff in the liquid, and then you like culture it, and then like you skim all the stuff off the top, and you it's only the liquid at the bottom. And he said, I wonder who the first human being was that was like, hey, like see all that sludge and gross stuff, but you
Yeah.
see like the clear stuff under it, like let's drink that.
Yeah, 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 yeah. Was it a serious mistake? You know,
Yeah.
like was somebody in a swamp when they discovered this stuff? I'm not a fan, can you tell?
Yeah. My first thought was that I was like, whoever it was, they had to be hard pressed. They're
Yeah.
like, times are tough. We're about to die. Like, there's no water anywhere.
Mm,
Hey, scrape all that scum off of that puddle and drink that stuff and see if it's good.
yeah. And what's the claim to fame on that, right?
But yeah, I think that like our minds are there's a saying, and here this is me with my paraphrasing, right? Because I just paraphrase every
Oh
like
yeah.
somebody said something kind of like this. Here's another one of those. I do it like at least once a podcast.
Yeah, you do. Yeah, I'll vouch for that.
um, so something along the lines of like, um, oh, all right, I'm trying to remember it exactly. You don't, okay, yeah, you don't lack abundance because people think that like if somebody says that like oh like my mind like I just changed my mind and it changes my reality and blah 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 when I'm not in that state, that's how that sounds to me. I'm like, oh
Mm,
yeah, you just changed it and then all this stuff changed. Like fuck out of here, dude. That's that's what I think, right? When I'm not in
yeah,
that
yeah.
state. And but so this statement is directly to anybody who may have that view, or maybe somebody that you know has that view. Because if you have an abundance mindset, you're probably well aware that when you share it with everybody, some people kind of fight back against it.
Yeah.
So here's the thing,
There's resistance there.
right?
There always
Right.
will be.
And so you don't lack abundance. You lack awareness of the abundance that you already have.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just like if you lack the awareness of it, then that means that to you, you don't experience it.
Yeah.
Just like when my cat brushes up against my leg when I'm sitting at this chair and I'm not aware of it because I'm just desensitized to it because it happens so often. I don't even notice it. It's like it didn't even happen to me.
Right, right.
And so the people who are like who think that they lack abundance, they are just unaware of the abundance that they already have. Actually, their their mind's power of delivering experiences to them, their the power of abundance is actually being harnessed to create the experience of lack.
Hmm.
That's what's going on. When they think that they don't have abundance, it's like you're using your abundance to give you an abundance of lack.
Of what you don't have.
Right. Because
Yeah.
it just gives you whatever you think. I
Mm.
used to use this. I didn't know that I was using this, but I used to use this to get drugs when I was on drugs. Like my drug dealer would go to jail and I was like opiate dependent and I'm like, I'm about to go into withdrawal. My drug dealer's in jail. Like I don't know, like I need to go get some from somewhere or else it's gonna be a rough week. And then I'd be like, okay, what can I do? What can I do? Well, I know where he used to hang out. I know like the neighborhoods that he used to hang out in. So something's telling me, I don't know what, but something's telling me if I go down there and I just start talking to people, I'm
Yeah.
gonna figure it out.
Now I'm
And
living in
then
abundance.
lo and behold, by the end of the day, I would have exactly what I needed.
I'm on Street of Abundance.
So, but
Yeah.
that just goes to show you that it's not like It doesn't just give you only the good things.
I think the first time I heard that saying, I think it was Myron Golden who said it, pretty close to what you just said. And I was like, wow, how true is that?
Yeah, yeah.
Because once you start living in abundance, you can't think of anything other, there's no other way.
See, and that's the funny thing. Even saying it like that, once you start living in abundance, it's like we all are.
Yeah.
All of us already are.
Yeah.
Like every single one of us already are, but we're not aware of it. And a lot of us a lot of us aren't aware of it. And the funny thing is, because we go from not being aware to aware of it, even us, like you and I, we look at it like this when we started living in abundance. It's like, no, no, no. It's been like that the whole time.
Right. When we realized it.
Even when we were experiencing lack, the abundance mechanism was being used to give us the experience of not having things. So we can see what that's
Mm.
like, you know? But yeah, super super
All right.
cool concept. But
Cool stuff. Great,
yeah,
great. Thank you for sharing all that, Ron. It's always great to get another um, opinion, way of looking at things. The body heals the body, man.
for
You know?
sure. For sure. And that's why I'm not tripping about aluminum in my deodorant. Like it makes me stop
Yeah.
sweating, and that's what I want deodorant to do.
Hey, that's key, right? Keep the people around you happy.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, I like looking into all that stuff and say, okay, wait a minute. Why is aluminum in deodorant? Just it was just a question. And now we found out why. We don't know, like, I don't know, someone had aluminum and they're like, hey, let's put aluminum flakes here. It's like, why is there fluoride in toothpaste? That'll be a future podcast, though. We're not going to get
Yeah.
into that tonight, but why is fluoride in toothpaste?
I mean, I
Get
think I know
ready.
the answer, but I mean, there's that's definitely a whole podcast episode we can go on that.
Whole different one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, guys. It's awesome, awesome chat. Every Thursday afternoon, evening, depending on where you're at. That's if you want, just subscribe. Just subscribe to
Right
the
on.
channel.
Just
There you go.
do this.
That's the easier way. Subscribe and hit that little bell to be notified, and you'll know. Um, anything else that you have for the audience, Brian?
Hey, it's been a pleasure, Ron. Always is. And until next week.
Until next week. See you guys.